Hey y'all, I'm AdaKay, and I must confess, I'm a trial junkie. I enjoy viewing trials as if I was the seated juror. So grab a cup of java, get comfy, and join me as we hop into court. And don't forget to comment, like, and most importantly, subscribe. And if you're really enjoying the channel, please join our membership.
Hello, all my fabulous friends. What a wonderful weekend. How are y'all doing? It is a blessing to have everybody here. It's been a wild day. Yeah, it's been fun. And can you get a little closer by any chance? So I have a special guest tonight. We're going to be talking about Karen Reed and all kind of fun stuff. And I am just so happy to have a guest. Yay! Let me bring her on stage and make it.
Hello, everybody.
David. How are you?
I'm doing good. You?
Awesome. I'm trying
so
to find
happy
it.
to be here.
I'm happy to have you. Look what I did for you.
Yay!
Oh, and my camera's too widespread. I need to. Ooh, you don't want to see all my crap in the background. It's a little better.
Just so you know, it's like 1:56 a.m. here.
We won't keep you any longer than we need to. I appreciate that so very much. But then again, I did a live one time and it was 1 something in the morning my time. And I just got to say, kudos. Thank you so very much. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. This is a fabulous, fabulous topic we're going to be talking about. One of the things, what we're going to do is we're going to get you going first. When you're ready to hop off, then I'm going to start going through some documents. Because, honey, we had a document dump this week. Yeah. We had a lot of documents dump. So do me a favor. Introduce yourself to our guests. Tell them who you are. Tell them how you got into this. And then we'll get going.
How I got into Karen Reed case or true crime in general?
Say that again?
How I got into Karen Reed case or true crime in general?
Just in true crime in general, and then the Karen Reed case.
Well, my name is Andjela. I am from Serbia, but I do live in Sweden. I am studying to be a teacher, but I'm also taking part-time criminology classes right now. Hopefully soon, full-time. I'm studying to be a teacher in physics and mathematics, so I do have some more than basic knowledge of physics. And
love you.
Yeah. How I got into true crime? Well, thanks to our recovery addict, I realized that I got into true crime way before than I thought. And that is during during Koberger case, and when they were talking about international law, I remembered that I watched International Court with my grandpa, and that was like years ago, like 2005, 6, if I remember right.
Wow.
But then I took a breather, and then I started actively. Well, I started with, like everyone else, crime shows on TV, and then moved to true crime around Corona.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, as we get going, please, y'all, share this specific live. Share the snot out of it. Like, comment, and of course, subscribe and membership. Do you have a website or a YouTube channel or anything that you do?
I just have Instagram, and that's it.
Drop it in the links and we'll pop it up. Drop it in the
Yes.
links, we'll pop it up. So, I'm going to try and keep this in an organized fashion so you can move faster. So in that said, I'm going to let you kind of navigate this part of the Karen Reed stuff. But I'm going to start off by saying I knew nothing about this case. This, like I said, this is not something that I had planned to do when I started. And so I really went into, I thought I'll just come in like an alternate juror. I'm just blind. I won't research. And I really did that with her case. I just knew what she was charged with. And I really was on the fence of her being guilty from day one, just opening comments. And, but as things kind of went through, and I did it the way I knew I shouldn't have. I started on the guilty and was working backwards, which I don't really do. But for some reason, this case, because he was a cop, I think it just got to me. So tell me your journey with this case and your thoughts on the evidence, if you can kind of go through your list.
I am one of the OG people regarding Ken Reed case. I got onto this case way before everyone else. Everyone else more or less came in through Turtle Boy and like last year and year before, like when Turtle Boy got involved. I got onto this case days after it happened, thanks to one of the podcasts that I followed. Well, I'm still following them because they covered Sandra Birchmore, and then when Ken Reed happened, they hopped onto that right away. They didn't miss a bit. So I more or less, they at most a week after it happened. So I was onto that like way from the start. And it was fascinating to me, like how, like at first I thought also she must have done it, but then it wasn't really on the guilty wagon because I still had this, how could it have happened? Because one of the reasons why I don't watch fantasy and, well, on science fiction, some stuff like Star Wars, but fantasy and paranormal and stuff like that, no, that's like not even in my wheelhouse, not even on my watch list. Because my brain works, I need to understand stuff. In order for me to process everything, I need to understand it. So I was leaning towards guilty, but then I needed to understand why she is guilty. And if she's guilty, to understand the evidence. And then the more I followed the case, I was like, no, there's like no way. And then the physics came in, and it's like, nope, she's not guilty. That's like impossible. Like it's just impossible for her car to drive. That's what got me. Impossible for the car to drive that fast in reverse, hit John and him to fall on the ground and be dead. That was like,
without her knowing she hit something, even though, by the way, Ollie T, my sponsor, sent me a cool mug. Even though she's drunk, a drunk knows, unless you're passed out drunk, that you went in a car, you would feel a hit at 25 miles an hour in any direction, reverse or forward.
Yeah.
I got in a car, and there's a road down here that I could safely do it. I got up to set 25 miles an hour backwards, and that was scary as crap. Scary. And it was more than the other thing is the distance. Wasn't it like 60 feet, 80 feet, something like that? It took me almost a city block, well, a block in my town, to get to 25 miles an hour without killing myself. Now, mind you, I can drive fire trucks. I've got more training than the Joe Blow. But in the distance, approximate distance between the two houses where they said it happened, she would have to literally put it to the pedal and throw caution to the wind and then slam on the brakes to the point that there would be rubber left on the road. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, thoughts on that is that I went further and got onto the Google Drive, and there is this thing that you can drive on maps. And draw on maps, sorry, not drive on maps, draw on maps. And you can count the distance, measure the distance, and so on. And that street and that whole block is very narrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it sounds big when they say, oh, the yard is X amount of yards big, wide, and Y amount, months of yards. Sorry, I'm not used to yards. I live in Europe. We use metrics, and sorry if I mixed that up.
Use your measurements, it's fine, but it's so many feet, so many yards,
Yeah,
so many
feet.
meters.
Yeah, and
But
it's
the
like
road is just a 2-car width. It's just a little over 2-car width.
Yeah, but
not 3 to 4-car width road, right?
And yeah, and 60 to 70 yards, 60-ish yards that they say that she drove. It's like she had to have started either at the yard across the street and then reverse to 34 Fairview, or start at the neighbor house, like 32 or 34, whichever. I don't know how you number your houses.
60 yards is just one is just, if you look at a football field, 50 yards is in the middle, 55 and 60. If you got a picture of that in your head, there is no way, unless she has the pedal to the metal, slammed to the floor. You're right. It just doesn't make sense. If they said she hit him at 10 to 15 miles an hour, I'd be on their side.
Then we get to, okay, let's say she did it. Let's put that theory on the table. And she did it around 1:45, or so, or thereabout. And from 1:45 to 6 a.m. when he was found, 6-ish a.m., there was like 5 hours, and I was in a freezing temperatures. His body would not have been 80 degrees. His body would have been way colder. Even maybe beginning stages of frostbite. There was nothing.
Yeah. I'm looking at the timeline because I have done a timeline. I took one and made it mine, alternate. I'm trying to look up. So I can't read it without my glasses, sorry. So let's talk about the physics or the numbers. You're the numbers woman. Let's talk about numbers. What's your thought on that? And I like what Andrea has to say. And if she backed up perfectly straight, and didn't hit anything but him. I back into people's driveway all the time and make unloading the truck easier, and I have a hard time doing that straight. So, what's your thoughts on the numbers? Because you said you had some information.
Well, I took the numbers that we got from, I will answer to your sneaky side really soon. I saw a comment. I took the numbers from that we got from Trooper Paul, and I and another guy from the, or at least I think he's a guy, from the As the Gavel Drops server. We did some. He did on computer. I did by hand, and the apparently she did not drive in a straight line. She drove like to the left X amount of yards, then to the right, then to the left again. And so it's not a straight line. And that would be like, again, in that street, it's impossible. We even calculated, I can try to look it up on my iPad. Again, me by hand, him by computer. Like that street, if she went, let's say, 20 yards in reverse to the left, then 5 yards to the right in reverse, then 20 yards in reverse to the left. Too narrow a street. Impossible. Has he not tried to drive on any street, not just that street?
Well, but remember,
Any
there
street.
were vehicles parked in that street. What's his
Yeah.
name? The one who had what's his name? Who parked in? He had the snowplow on the front. His vehicle.
Higgins.
Yeah, there was a
Higgins.
vehicle there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have some people joining. Quickly give us your educational background. We had a lot of people miss it.
I am studying to be a high school teacher in physics and mathematics, and how things work here in Sweden. I get basically, so in order to get a bachelor's degree in physics, you need to have 180 points, and I get 90 points out of that as a requirement to be a teacher. So, and basically, if I choose, I can, if I want, I can go to masters. So I fill the requirements to get to masters if I want later. So yeah, I'm like bachelor's degree level physics. Maybe not full
That's far
bachelor's,
above
but
me.
what?
That's far above my grade.
Yeah.
And nobody saw anything, even though they were looking out the window every couple minutes, or so they said.
But don't forget, Jen McCabe said that she saw Karen's car around 1:45. But how did she saw it when Karen was at her and John's house around 0036? Well, her phone was connected to Wi-Fi at that time, at least.
So that's 12:36 in the morning, our time. If you,
Yeah.
we call it non-military time. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I wanted to find out, you were talking about the alcohol. Now that got my attention. Let's talk about the drinks.
Let's talk about.
I had a real big problem with that. When I first started hearing the testimony of how much she had to drink, I was like, that woman's blasted drunk, dunk case, guilty. But then I heard Jules talking about how you can buy, it's cheaper to buy certain shots and liquids and then drink a little and then have it refilled and this and all that. And I got, that makes sense. So I want to hear from you.
Well, I'm not 100% to blame for going down this rabbit hole. I have to give credit to Aussie Insider for putting me down this rabbit hole. So one morning I was. What?
You went down the hole, so that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was listening to Aussie Insider one morning, and she was talking. She and I don't know who else was on her live, and they were talking. I think they were even counting Karen's drinks and talking about how much she drank, and they were pointing it out that she drank only 4 vodkas that they can find. They can count on the video. So that got me thinking, how was her blood alcohol level so high only after 4 drinks,
Are they
4 shots? Shots, yeah.
I don't drink, so
I don't
because I
drink
fall
either.
asleep before.
I got sidetracked. I got drunk once on my friend's home housewarming party, and I told her I want to get drunk. So that was on purpose, not by accident. And I may have murdered a few songs. I have,
So,
I have videos evidence, but so I'm not gonna do that again.
so go ahead and share with me, please.
Yeah. So that drove me. That so what she told me put me down the rabbit hole. How was her blood alcohol level so high after only 4 shots? So I went to Google like everyone else and started Googling. What could we know? She has medicine, all of these medical issues. Could that have impacted her blood alcohol levels? No, that was out the door as soon as I can hit the Google, enter button.
So you're
So
saying because she has was it Crohn's disease, and that she
yeah,
had a colonoscopy at some point, and that affects your processing of the alcohol. So
it
would it
may,
be safe to
it's
presume that I'm not a doctor? Maybe if Dr. Bullbutter's here, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but would I be safe to assume I've had stomach surgery for a pyloric sphincter repair, and they went ahead and did a um, not the bypass, but the sleeve, and um, things go through me quick. I can't absorb this stuff quick enough. They said alcohol would hit me quicker, but it goes through you quicker. So with that, I the floor is yours. I'm sorry.
uh yeah, but yes, it's Crohn's, yeah, but there is one small misconception about stuff. No, although that depends also on people, so not everybody is the same. And your medical issues may impact stuff, but there are some stuff that are the same no matter what kind of issues you have, what kind of person you have, at what rate you absorb alcohol, and so on. So but then got me after Googling around. I don't know how many different Google searches I did before I went down the rabbit hole of went down the search of mixing drinks. We know she preferred her drink vodka with carbonated water. Could that have impacted her BAC? And that's when I hit the jackpot.
Say that.
So I hit the jackpot.
Say that again. What's the jackpot?
Her preferable drink, vodka with carbonated water or tonic water.
Okay, explain.
So apparently, when people say, "Oh, did you mix your drinks?" and this is this I found on some random law firm website. So when you say, "Oh, did you mix your drinks?" people think, "Oh, did you mix wine and vodka and whiskey and whatever people drink these days?" But sure, that's one of the one of the answers you can give. But what how you drink your drinks? Did you drink straight vodka or you mix with carbonated water, with juice, with anything sweet? That's what what's meant with mixing your drink. Did you mix it with anything beside alcohol?
Gotcha.
And that's what's the reason her BAC levels up, because carbonated water mixed with alcohol, her BAC level is higher than if she was to drink a straight vodka.
So, okay, but that just because her level was the number was higher doesn't mean she was more impaired. It's
No.
just the way that her body was processing because she mixed it with the salsa water, carbonated water,
Yeah.
versus drinking it straight. So it elevated those numbers falsely.
Yes, it's a false positive
Oh.
BAC.
Ding, ding, ding. Do you want to go testify on her behalf as an expert? Because I think
I can send them. I
on
can
a
send
jury,
them.
if I was on a jury and heard that, that evidence would be dead for me. I couldn't consider that those numbers to be accurate. I would have to
Yeah.
base my decision on if she was overwhelmingly drunk by the behavior on scene, which the police said she didn't appear to be drunk.
No. And the only reason BAC levels were so high is because of it was falsely positive. And it was falsely positive because of how she drank her alcohol with mixing it with carbonated water. So I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'm happy to send the research paper that I found to Jackson and Yannetti if they want to go down that rabbit hole.
I would find out their law for email and just say, I want to send you something. And see, you doesn't hurt.
Yeah. And they even have a really great graph. It took me like after I knew what I was looking for, it took me like 5 minutes to find the research.
Sneaky said, hey to Mouse, I'm willing to do some experiments to find out. Yeah, let's videotape that live.
Yeah. But and that's also what got me thinking, we watch all those DUI on YouTube. Well, at least I do. I don't know about the rest of you.
We
And
won't
people
always get it, but we do.
yeah, please don't look into my YouTube history. Well, so so the people say, "Oh, I drank only 2 beers or 2 glasses of wine." Well, my dad, uh, although he has been not in a year or two, when he drinks wine, he often mixes it with Coca-Cola, and he makes
Wine and Coca-Cola?
yeah, it's a bambus.
Bamboos?
Yeah, it's called bambus, at least in Serbia, where I'm from. Um,
May try it.
yeah, I think I tried it once. It's very good. It lowers this. I don't. The reason why I don't drink alcohol is I don't like the taste of it. And Coca. What?
I don't like the burn.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely probably the European thing. So, um, but I tasted it at least once, I think, or
Chris?
once only. And I think it lowers the how hot that burning or taste of wine, the strong taste of wine. Um, but I think I drank like this much of wine and this much of Coca-Cola.
I can drink about a half a glass of, I can't do red dry wine, just can't. A nice sweet wine, and I get about that much, and I will curl up in a ball no matter where I'm at and go to sleep. And hell can happen, hurricane, tornado, whatever, and I will not wake up until I'm ready to 8 hours later. Andrea brought this up. The authorities weren't on scene till several hours. No, you had the police officer that was on scene when they called 911 when Karen was doing CPR. He was on scene. Other officers showed up before the ambulance showed up. They're the ones I'm saying that said that she did not appear to be drunk, upset, excited, panicked, but not drunk. And that was questioned several times.
Yeah, and we all heard those voicemails that she left to John, and she did not hear her voice was not slurred. She did not sound drunk at all. So yeah.
I'm deaf. I'm extremely loud talker. You don't want me drunk. Well, the thing is also when I looked at the videos, and I, of course, didn't say it at the time. I was very new and was not giving much opinions. I will say, I've seen people who were drunk and then some like this happened and it snaps them into reality real quick.
Mm.
It's amazing how clear-headed some people can be. Not everybody, but it can happen.
Can I go? Can I rewind just a little to that, like her BAC levels being so high because of, when I said to a few people, they were like, "Oh, but I mean, because of what I sent them, the link to that law firm that I first found, the answer. They were like, oh, but that does also mean that uh, that alcohol will leave her body quicker. Oh, well, that what was I think that they said something like metabolize the alcohol, so BAC levels would not be that high at like 9 a.m. But that's not how it works, because once the alcohol levels enter your bloodstream, it leaves at a certain rate. No matter, it's still, when you calculate it back, you still get that high at whatever hour earlier you calculate.
It's
Like they
almost like
calculate.
consistent. It's like within a very minuscule difference, there is a mathematical number that they can put to it that's pretty consistent across the human bodies. There might
Yeah,
be like a 10, maybe 5-second, 5-minute type thing, but in general blocks of time, how the body processes alcohol. I honestly, I struggle because everyone's going after her because she drank, but what about all the cops and everybody who were drinking and driving all night long?
mm.
Um,
And he is going back to CPD to move the cars. And how many whiskeys did he have?
oh, he was more plastered than she was by far. And then you see that fight video in the bar as they're getting ready to leave. The girls left, and the security camera caught what's his name? Brian. Is it Brian Albert? That
Yeah,
wanted to go after the deceased. But to me, it was like, hello. There's just so much evidence here otherwise. So count 1 and 2, I agree, should be off the table. They gotta prove that she was drunk when driving and that she did actually hit him, and I think that's where the jury got hung.
yeah. But also, I think they need, based on what they told Turtle Boy, they need to say, okay, let's not tell the jury that FBI is involved, but when we talk about ARCA guys and that other proceeding, which to not, it's not like it they can't say, oh, it's in federal grand jury, but they can say it's independent, something to like not mislead them, like they said they were misled the first time.
I don't think it's right that they should leave out that there's a federal investigation because it's too entwined.
Yeah,
They can sit there and say there is another investigation, but it has nothing to do with Karen. It has to do with other people who will be testifying, but then it taints their testimony. And do you know what? That's fine. If
I
it
have
taints
zero problems with
that's on you, your behavior, All right. Who do you think is not going to testify again?
that. I really hope they called Michael Proctor and uh Trooper Guarino. Sorry, and I hope they call all the troopers so we can
not.
get a
Proctor's
second.
off the table.
What?
Isn't Proctor off the table? He's not going to test a guy again. And part of that is because he was fired from the department, and there still may be some litigations. And because of that, his attorney's going to fight like hell to keep him off of that witness stand. I want Jen McCabe on the stand again.
Oh, I want her to. I want.
Jen, I need that sound clip. Where's Dawn? I need that sound clip for this trial. Jen!
Oh my God, my mom was like days after that testimony, my mom was like mimicking something completely unrelated to this because she didn't even follow this trial. I don't think she will follow the retrial either. But so she didn't hear the Jen sound. But she mimicked something else, and she almost sounded like Jen McCabe. Almost. I was like, no.
It's like the other day, I sat there and said, yeah, it was a good day. And I went, oh my God, I'm Sarah Boone. I was all like, no. Let me see if I can get it up here.
We had a good day. Mm-hmm. It was a good day.
I was like, oh, I can't believe I said that. It ruined it for me. I can't say that anymore without thinking about Boone. Take that. Thank you.
Oh, every time I hear what if anything, I can't. What if, and then I can't help but think of Lali. Oh my God.
Well, actually, it started with the Johnny Depp with Lean. What is her name? I'm brain dead.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't.
Lawyer, female lawyer.
Yeah.
Elaine. What if anything? And I understand the question. I understand why they do it, because they don't want to lead. They have to ask in a certain way. And what if anything? And what really got me about a lot of these trials is that there's a lot of almost on borderline narrative testifying. And I'm like, I've had to testify multiple times in different cases, and I've gotten really good at yes, no. Well, did you go to this grocery store that day? Yes. And what time did you go, and what did you get? Wait for the objection compound. So it is so hard for me to watch some of this because I'm like, you're volunteering too much information. Why are they letting you get away with this? This trial, Jen McCabe was one that did a lot of the narrative crap. And I think that this new district attorney that's got the case, I think he is on fire. And I think it's going to be a totally different trial. Do I want to watch that trial again? Absolutely not. But it's not going to be the same trial. And a lot of people, I'm not putting my time in it. It's not going to take that long. This prosecution is going to move it. I think the new prosecutor is going to keep a tighter ship. And I don't think they're going to have as many witnesses. And I don't think he's going to spend the first hour of every testimony saying, let's talk about the weather.
Oh my God.
How many times do we have to hear what the weather was like?
40 witnesses in, and the only thing we learned, it snowed that night.
It was snowing. It wasn't snowing earlier, but it was snowing later. As a mob in blue, and I'm sorry, I'm being silly. No. Kristen, you look.
I mean, it's Boston. You don't have to be an Einstein to figure out how cold it is in January.
Who, if anybody, was driving the ambulance?
That! It was a self-driving ambulance, maybe.
I was like, I would have said, who on your team was driving the ambulance? Who was the ambulance driver? Who was the medic in the back? Who had what responsibilities? Who, if any, what, if any, like, what, if any, IVs did you place? Why could you? I mean, it's like, can you tell me the list of things you did in order to sustain life? And then shut up and let them tell you what they did. It was a lot. I
I
don't think
think there was even a question, who, if anyone, drove the fire truck? Correct me if I was wrong, but I think there
no,
was a
there
like a
was.
question, like self-driving fire truck, really?
All right. We give Lally a really bad time. I'm going to defend the dude now. So go ahead and yell at me. Go ahead. Start. Yell. Okay, here's my comment. I don't think Lolly wanted to do this. I think Lolly felt that this case was not solid enough to bring. I think from somewhere down the line, I read that the attorney general forced, excuse me, oh my God, I ate dinner and now I get sleepy. That the attorney general pushed for this, and it was an election year, correct? If I'm not right. And
No, it's
um, I
hold
know
on a second. Hold on a second. 22, I just looked it up because I saw that there are two people running against Morrissey and I was like, okay, when is the election for DA? And next election is 2026. So is it 4 years term or 5 years term? Because if it was
for
4 years term, then it's 2022. So it may have been something.
I think that was a part of it. But the biggest thing is if an assistant district attorney is forced to try something that they do not have faith in, I don't think they're going to do as good a job. And I don't think he was really thought it was going to get to trial. I really, I think that it shocked him it got as far as it did. And I have to say, he's getting really ratted on really bad. I mean, people are really pissed off, and I don't think he's as bad as it looked. I think, though, that sometimes you're just in over your head, and he didn't have the physical support of his attorney general, because I think the attorney general was just trying to save his own butt. Because wasn't he under some litigations too? I mean, there's that whole department is a crap show, and um, I think he knew it, and he just was trying to do the best he could with the, when you're handed a bucket of crap and tell you to cook it up into a 5-course meal, it still ain't going to taste good no matter how pretty it looks.
Hmm.
And I kind of felt that with him. I I felt that he just lost the passion and heart for this trial, and it happens.
I mean, the fact that nobody wanted to retry this case, that they had to bring in Brennan. I mean, lawyer, said how, I mean, if I don't remember what exactly he said, but he said something along the line of, like, if you work in an office like that and you're forced to, um, you don't want to try a case, do you really want to work for an office like that? Something
I
along
don't
those
think
lines.
so. And I understand Dr. Bullbutter, he couldn't form a question, but you know what? Sometimes the stress is just too much and you're over your head, and he just cracked. I'm not saying I don't know him. I just don't like everybody just attacking him when we don't know everything that was going on behind scenes. He was trying to appease exactly. I felt I kind of went back and started watching some of this on my own just to refresh, and I saw a shift happen in about week 3 ish. And I think he was just like, I'm over this. I'm done. I have no support. I'm over my I think he just was snapping.
Mm.
I just think he was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to do what I can to get through this. I don't know. Um, but anyway, I for his sake am glad he's not doing it again. Honestly, I don't think any trial that is found to be a hung jury or mistrial, and they retry it again, I don't think the same prosecutor should ever do it a second time. I don't. I don't think it's good for the community. I don't think it's good for the judicial system. They're presenting evidence that had no chain of custody, highly questionable techniques, and if I was an assistant district attorney and I saw red Solo cups and I saw like that, and I still have it, and I saw the bag and how all that evidence was treated, y'all, I would have a really hard time defending that case. I would.
I was like, after I learned about the Stop and Shop bag, which I think I first heard about it when the trial started, or at least I remember hearing it then. And then we in Sweden, we can just throw all baggage in one bag and then throw it out. We actually have to sort it, food in one place, plastic in one place, and so on. And all of our food, at least where I live, is in like bag like that, Stop and Shop. And I was like, oh, this would be a nice evidence bag.
Look, it's really bad when you've got little peons like me who are going to school with get a degree in criminal justice, and we can sit here and tell you where you went wrong. We haven't even made it through the program. I mean, I'm graduating next year, but I'm a senior now. But it's kind of like I'm looking at this going, I'm not even evidence, trained police officer yet. I'm not a CSI, but I can sure tell you, honey boo boo, you screwed up big time. And then the leaf blower, and then bringing shovels out of their homes that have not been cleaned. And it was just that if I was an assistant DA and my boss was telling me to try this, I'd say, I'm resigning, early retirement, or I'm going to find a job elsewhere because I would not put my name or face on that work.
I'm just really sad that I I think that he's forced. I don't think he's doing this willingly. If he is dirty or not, we don't know. We won't know until FBI is done, which I'm hoping soon. Before the retrial, please, FBI, please be done before the retrial. But
Did they go out of business because of the Karen Reed trial? I would think that would bring them more business.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
but
That's a loss.
yeah, that's a loss. But I do know there are Stop and Shop shops here in Europe, not in Sweden at least. Not that I know at least. Not that I saw here where I live at least.
We don't have them here. We have other companies, but it would be the same as whatever. But yeah.
I am just sad that, let's say, he is not dirty, he is all clean, and he is forced into doing this.
Thank you, Mary Kay.
He is.
I don't get them often.
Thank you, Mary. He may lose his license because of this, or his license may suffer because of this. Because
I'd move out of town. I'd get the hell across the nation. I wouldn't stay anywhere near there.
Yeah.
So
Well,
where is Proctor right now? Was he not fired?
no official confirmation, so he may still be on. But let's not into that whole. The source that said that he was fired. Well, actually, it was like Brian Walsh, attorney, but then someone else but that was debunked. But then someone else, which we will not name, said on X, but that's not confirmed. That because that person went on the other side. We know who we are talking about. The former DEA agent.
Well, you know, and people were,
Or at least I think he's.
I would be hanging the jury because I couldn't convict her with what's even. I I would have to see more information on the alcohol stuff. Could she be charged with drinking with driving and getting punished for that? But I can't say for sure she unalived him by hitting him with the vehicle. Even if she had clipped him with the vehicle, there was just too much other stuff that make me question. Um, I've never shared my theory, and I'm about to share a theory that I had when this was all going on. And I know some people on my team are going to disagree, but that's okay. I love you anyway. I think if she did not accidentally hit him, okay, I think I'm with some people that the other scenario is he did go in the house quickly because it was cold and snowing. And there was a fight that ensued because, hello, she was flirting and having inappropriate conversations with somebody. And those two got in a fight down in the basement. I find it interesting that the son was not questioned or talked to, and he was in the house. I find it interesting the dog had disappeared. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I find it interesting that the injuries. So is it plausible that he had a fight down in the basement? Yes. Is it plausible that he either fell on a dumbbell and busted his head or somebody hit him with something? Yes. There was a person, and I have this written. I got to bring out the Bible. I've got that much notes from testimony, but I happened on this internet YouTube thing, and some of y'all may have seen it, but it was a private investigator, and they were able to keep this witness out of the trial. But this witness is a friend of the homeowner, and this person was told in a situation where there was a party that was spoke about in court, and during that time he was drunk as a skunk, and he said that there was a fight down in the basement, that John O'Keefe passed out from the fight. He went unconscious during the fight, and they left him. Someone went back to check on him, and he was gurgling. And they took him out and put him in the snow, hoping that the snowplow would find him. He described that he was gurgling and trying, fuming and vomiting and everything. That's head injury. That's head injury. And the brain is swelling. So that's just something I heard. It just frustrates me that that person, and it's known. I don't have the name in front of me. I could give it to you later. Was known, did not get called to testify. I think they blocked him somehow. But my understanding of the fight was it was between him and the other Brian over Karen Reed.
Hmm.
And the fight got nasty. And he got hit over the head with one of the barbells. And there was a glass involved. And there was a dog involved. So I'm not saying that's for sure. But there is just, once again, beyond reasonable doubt. Now, the jury didn't have access to that information.
But if you line up that they didn't, but what I heard regarding that person is that I also know the story, but I don't remember the name, mostly because I'm terrible with names.
Me too.
That he did not, I think he walked into Janetti's office or something, and when Janetti asked him to send an affidavit, he refused because of the repercussion. Sorry if I didn't say it right, but he so that may be the reason why he was not why he was not called to testify, but he may have been called to testify to FBI. We don't know who was called. Because we simply don't know who was called to testify. We only know who testified based on the questions asked in the first trial.
Well,
So
I want to say this. You can get in a fight and someone can get a brain damage from the fight, and you call 911, they go to the hospital, you might get a charge for misdemeanor for violence, like domestic violence type thing. But if you leave them for 5 to 6 hours out in the snow and that brain keeps swelling, even though it's cold, it's not going to stop it totally. They can unalive. The other thing I was going to say is I was shocked that the defense did not tie in the fact that the snowplow company is owned by a police officer. And they said one person said that a call went in that there was an unconscious person laying in the snow on that street. And nobody called. And what you do is you call that into dispatch. Dispatch will call 911. Nobody was called. And when he went in at the end of his shift and spoke to the owner, manager, he said, if you breathe another word of this, you will never have a job again.
speaking of that, I have a crazy thought on how FBI got involved, and that's a theory that is completely out of whack, considering everything we know. We know that John is well, defense and prosecution know how FBI got involved because FBI told them. Well, not the FBI, but the U.S. Attorney's Office. But they also know what time they got involved. We know based on the timeline when the witnesses were called to the grand jury, but nothing either before that or after that. So we know that John was this great guy who took in his sister's kids. We also know that he wanted to help, and we also know that nobody from the BPD did any statement about his death besides some very short paragraph. So random thought that he may have been also collaborating with FBI before his death. I'm not saying that this was connected to his death.
No, that is highly possible. Highly possible that he was cooperating. And that makes this even all the worse, And I think
And he may have known something about the McCabe's and Alberts, well, mostly about Alberts because McCabe's were not really into police, and they were.
Bull Butter, you are right. Brian is a Fed like ATF, right? But
Yeah.
cooperating ATF and cooperating with an outside federal investigation are two different entities within it. So he could have been cooperating on that. I want to say real quick that you are right that we will never know. The investigation screwed up. There's no fixing it. That's why I don't know why we're trying him again. Sneaky, stepping away. We'll be listening, just saying thanks in advance. Thank you so much. You're so awesome, Sneaky. And I enjoyed your live today. Y'all go back and watch. Sometimes what I call BS lives are some of the funnest. But go ahead, love. I apologize. I had to address.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that that had anything to do with his death, but I think that he may have even known something about Alberts and he talked to the feds about it, or he may have known about it without knowing it was about them, because sometimes you know stuff, but you don't know who that stuff is about. And then you talk to people, and then turns out you know who that stuff is about, or they know who that stuff is about. Sorry if I confused you, but you know, telling a story without naming people, and then you remember, oh, I know who those people are. Stuff like that.
Hey,
But
Dr.
it's
Goldbutter, as a little kindergartner kid used to say, you can do it.
Dr.
You can do it.
Goldbutter did.
I think if you can I think it will help you a lot with a different prosecution, but we'll see. We'll see. So we're going to have a whole new case. Not really. But they're now talking about the computer chips and the stuff in the vehicle, and whether or not it's going to be destroyed, and who's going to destroy it if they test it, and it's getting a little pissy. But one thing I've noticed in one of the documents was relief from order to impound sidebar conferences. Yeah, Lally made it nuts. Made you nuts. He's not there anymore. What that means is a legal request to unseal or make available materials that have been impounded by statute. So, like court rules or standing orders, lawyers can request this relief to make sure they can review the relevant case materials, transcripts, pleadings, exhibits, or whatever. So that's happening. And then they have another motion trying to, for the lack of suppress, hide, whatever it's called, redact a lot of the people's phone numbers and stuff. Remember when they threw up those big chain of text, and there's other people who are not a part of this case whose phone numbers and names were not redacted? That's where I feel sorry for a lot of people, because there are people who really didn't have much to do with this case or anything at all, and all of a sudden their phone numbers are posted. They had to get new phone numbers. It was just horrible. And I think this whole case was handled so inappropriately. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're worried about the jurors' names being exposed.
Speaking of chips and doing the retesting, let's say that everything goes well and they get the data, and the data says she did not hit him. What's gonna happen then? Are they gonna drop the charges?
I don't think the data will say that she didn't hit him, but I
Well,
do think it will say as to the speed, distance, bumps, that kind of thing.
in that sense, I meant not she did not hit him.
Well, yeah, but one time, I'll have to be honest, I backed up and bumped into a big pumpkin outside of someone's ranch. I mean, those pumpkins that are 5 feet wide type pumpkins, those big giant things. And it was dark, and I was on a country road, and I didn't realize that I had bumped it till I got home and saw pumpkin on my bumper. I killed a pumpkin, y'all. I didn't feel it. But that said, I was only going like 2 or 3 miles an hour, But I think if she had hit anything, it's going to show. But well, my thing is really makes me question it. Also, is that there would been tire tracks.
yeah.
There is no way she could hit him and his body land where it did, unless there's skid marks for when she went. You know what I mean? If she's going that fast backwards, and there would be a skid somewhere in that path. There would be.
Also, I don't have a driver license. When you drive a car, no matter which car, when you go backwards, the cars, well, most cars has that sound of going backwards, and even
The
our
beep, beep,
car,
beep, beep, beep thing.
Yeah, or like I can't remake the sound that our car makes, but there's like some kind of a sound that goes, especially her car.
Her car would. Mine doesn't have it. Mine has a backup camera. But her car, same as my mama's, has those little things on the back bumper that beep when you get close to something and notifies you. Your screen will turn yellow and red. Yeah, I know. I was hoping somebody bring that up. But thanks for reminding me that point.
But not
Because
not also that. If you stand outside, if you're not in the car, if you're outside of the car, and you see a car, or you can just hear in the nearby there's a car going back in reverse, and we have a Mercedes E200, and so it's not that powerful, and it made not powerful in comparison to Karen's car and your mother's car. So, and it made some kind of a sound that you can hear from the outside. So someone would have heard it, and especially Jen McCabe, our favorite Jen, since she was going back window and back, she would have seen it, or at the very least heard it. You know?
well, I'm deaf as a board, so I can't answer to the sounds that cars make anymore.
Sorry.
On the mirrors, you have the thing that says something's in that corner or it's too close. You have the screen that comes on when you pop it in reverse that has the camera and it has the yellow and the red. And there was more than enough stuff for her to see that there was something she was going to hit. So why didn't the defense even bring that up? Was a question from me. I really struggled with that car evidence. So we'll see what happens. But I know a lot of people think she's guilty, and it's okay. There's some people who think she's innocent, and that's okay. But that said,
Speaking of speaking of things that defense did not bring it up, I hoped, like, please, they have this expert, they have two experts, like ME and this dog bite. Maybe not the dog bite person to ask, but ME to ask. So we know that his temperature was 80 degrees at 6-ish a.m. So based on that and the temperature that night, can you approximate how long he was outside in the cold?
Here's the problem. They didn't liver punch him for the temperature on scene. They put him in an ambulance and started heating him up.
Yeah, that's a
He
problem.
was 80 when he got to the hospital or whenever they took it. So, no. If the coroner had gone out and they had not removed him from the snow, say if they said, yeah, he gone, bring the coroner, then they would have done a body temp through the liver. I think that's the liver. And they would have then been able to say, well, he's this at this time out in this weather. They could have counted it back a little bit. But I think there was too much stuff going on. And you're correct. He wasn't technically, well, I don't know how to put this, y'all. One of two things. He was technically still alive, or he was technically or dead, but she started CPR. And the moment you do CPR, you treat them as if they're alive, even if they were dead. Because you're not dead till you're warm dead. So they couldn't do a liver temp. You're right. Am I not right, Dr. Bullbutter? Warm dead, not cold.
But okay, let's say we can't do that, but they could have, like, do the thing that I was talking about, like beginning stages of frostbite, like how if he was dead for if he was out in the cold for 5 or so hours, what kind of signs of the body would we have seen on, like,
Probably only have redness because, well, I don't know. It just depends on the temperature and the wind and everything.
that's I have a
It gets in Canada, I'll tell you that much. It wasn't like -0, But I think the problem is I was shocked that they didn't take they could have taken his body temperature in the ambulance, put the probe in the armpit type thing, and gotten some kind of reading, and then gone from there, but they didn't.
I
I
live in Sweden. We get cold winters here.
yeah, I've always wanted to visit Sweden.
Visit
But
during summer. You can swim in the sea.
huh?
Visit during summer. You can swim in the sea during the summer.
That would be cool. I'd love to do some camping, glamping. It was all life. You're right, Haley Mount. All it was is about CPR, get him in the ambulance, warm him up, and see if we can revive this person. And I get that. I get that. I was really angry because I was at first for a long time. They only said that Karen Reed had done CPR on him, and the cop just stood around and didn't just talk to the other girls. And it really frustrated me. But then when they showed some body camera, the cop did go over and start doing CPR on him when Karen Reed stood up. I was angry because Karen Reed stood up and walked away. Now, if she was doing CPR, which she was, unlike Sarah Boone, she would have been tired by the time they got there. So the officer did step in and continue. And then she was going back and forth. And I get that. I've seen that on scene where there's a bad car wreck. The person we're doing CPR, we're trying to revive the person or keep them alive. And I have seen mothers and spouses go back and forth in a panic. That behavior did not disturb me at all and in the least. Some people it really disturbed. She was hysterical, which is fine. But what do you think about the phone calls and her being panicked because he wasn't home?
Completely normal reaction.
It depends on the person. So a lot of people go, I wouldn't have been worried about my husband. I dropped him off at that house. Now that said, there was an ex-girlfriend's house down the street, and he was supposed to be home and he wasn't. And she may be one of these people that thinks of the worst before anything else. I would just say, let me go pick his up. He's probably drunk and sleep on the couch. But not everybody's like me. There are some people who think the worst before they even think of any other scenario.
Yeah.
That would have been more the possible. Do you think she'll testify on this trial?
I don't think so.
I don't think
I don't think it's a good idea because the way Brennan is spinning her comments to media, it's like if he is spinning his words now in emotion, God knows how would he spin it if on cross.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They weren't married. It's still early in their relationship, so of course she was consistently. Do you know what? I find that when I was younger and I was in a relationship with my ex-husband, and I know that he's at the office and he's working late. I go to bed and I wake up at 3, 4 in the morning and he isn't here. I'm like, hey, where are you? That's not accusing him of being where he shouldn't be. It's more of like me saying, politely saying, why is your butt not in this bed? I did that. Hey, where are you? No response. Where are you? You're not at home. And I would keep texting every 5-10 minutes. And then I drive up to the office and I'm like, he's passed out like this on the desk, sound asleep.
Mm.
But my first questions would be, where are you? Not, hey, did you fall asleep at work? I'm just saying, I just think people are making too big of a deal out of that.
Yeah, Also, people sending messages, her messages and her phone calls. Please do not look into. I'm not texting my dad because, like, he's the worst at texting. He would see your text like days after you send him. He would see only, oh, I'm gonna text you this. Please look at this. That's when he will see the text you send him. Otherwise, he may never see it. But my mom, sometimes, if I want to make my point, when I text her something, I make like gazillion, I put like gazillion exclamation points. Or I text a friend, and sometimes we text in caps lock. And for any other person, it will be like we are yelling to each other, but we're just talking in caps lock because we want to talk in caps lock, you know?
Well, and Haley Mouse, you're right. Texts and voicemails remind me of me and my husband earlier. Well, they did have a trust issue in their relationship. That was evident. So for her to be panicked and saying, if you don't get your effing home, that was a lot of insecurity, but that didn't mean she killed him. And you know what, Ronnie? I ain't Latina and I ain't Hispanic. I'm an Irish Cherokee Cree. That's about equal. And you're right. I'd be like, where are you? I'd be kicking in an overdrive. I used to have nightmares and fears that actually my ex-husband worked a lot of long hours. And someone came up to me, gosh, about a year or so before I lost him, and insinuated that there was a lady that worked in the same building that was always late, working late there. And I knew her. We went to church together. And they said that she saw him in his office a couple of times, really like at midnight, 1 in the morning. And they were just sitting there talking, but it was awfully friendly. Well, what do you think that did to me? Implanted the thought, hey, what's going on here? And so one day I said, well, I hear that you've been here late. I didn't tell her who said it. She goes, yeah, your husband must have told you. I have to work at the lab and I have to do the late night audits. And I leave and my path out always crosses his office and his door's open and he's sound asleep on his desk. And I have to wake him up and tell him go home. I don't think anything inappropriate was happening, but a seed is planted. It's hard to dig that out. You can't just pluck it. It's not easy. And then the other thing I used to have fears of him driving home and falling asleep driving. Because he, like I said, work. It's 70, sometimes 100 hours a week at one point. And I was just terrified that, where are you? You're not home. Do I need to call the hospital? Do I need to, But that was us. Ronnie, you're right. You're right. And the seed will grow. So I think between their relationship, there was definitely a lot of mistrust and the fear of her having a fear of him cheating on her because she cheated on him.
Yeah. But yeah.
Dr. Bullbutter, I am so sorry. I respect the fact that you still feel she's guilty and you don't care anymore. But I'm looking at this from a justice side and the procedural side. This is very educational. If we take the emotional, take the what ifs, and just look at the procedural side of things, boy, this is one to do a paper on.
I wanted to do a paper on this case. I wanted to do a paper on this case, but I told you yesterday, well, for me, it was the day before yesterday. I had to write this paper on like a case, but I had to connect it to literature and everything I learned in this class, which was criminological theory. And I was like, I was trying to, I was talking to my professor, and he was like, I mean, sure, talking about corruption sounds interesting, but you still need to connect it to to the literature and everything we learned in the class, and I could not find a thing to connect it because this case is so
Complex.
yeah. And
And
then I ended up on Crumbly case, which is a whole other rabbit hole. Please, I may have raised all of the red flags at whoever checks that people doesn't Google stuff that they shouldn't Google.
well,
But I
interesting.
also hope
Esther.
what? I also hope that they see that I did it for my paper, not because I plan on doing some really bad stuff.
I I won't touch that. I am taking a class next semester that I might be able to get a paper in on this. It is more of a procedural thing. I am very, very complex. I'm trying to quit the bad words. This is unusual. I still can someone, either you or in chat, explain to me the anti-bev thing, because I never found out the connection. But it does make me believe, by the way she's handled this case and me not knowing that connection, I still, without knowing anything, think that she's done a lot of things inappropriate. And the fact that they're going to lose the chance for dismissal of counts 1 and 3 in the Supreme Court, I believe, because they didn't object soon enough when Beverly just said, okay, mistrial, goodbye, and didn't do what she should have been. Did y'all come to agreement on any of the accounts? I think everybody was in shock, and I feel bad for her for that.
I think the only reason they may lose, not only that, because that was like a quick, like it was like seconds, like, but that's a speculation. But I think the most, even the judges pointed out, is that because there is no rule about it, there is no case law on this. So if they are to do this, they need to make a case law,
Well,
which
but there's always the first. You got to have a
yeah,
first somewhere to create a case law. So this may be it.
yeah. But
You're
as
talking about the anti-bev. That's one.
anti as I might be somewhat wrong, and somewhat right. So where I'm wrong, you guys please correct me. But as far as I understand, is that one of the witnesses, I don't know which one, because again, I'm bad with names, called her Auntie Bev. And that was like not it wasn't in court. It was like somewhere public. It may even have been a social media or somewhere, you know. And then there is, so that's where it started. And then this connection of Judge Canoni to the McAlberts is that, and well, that
Wedding.
well, yeah, the Venmo that one of the witnesses from the house, uh, it was like she rented her beach house or something. I don't know. So yeah,
She
there's
should
like
have been
more than
removed
one
from the
connection.
Alberts. She should have been removed from the case. She should remove herself to just get rid of any and all, you know.
Yeah, Ronnie's right.
hint of
But
immaturity.
Bev's
Oh,
husband,
many
not
years ago,
Bev,
she was an attorney to one of them.
not her. Her husband was attorney to, I think, Chris Albert, one of the Alberts.
It's just too intertwined. And y'all understand, I live in a town of about 25,000, about the same size as Canton, and everybody knows everybody, especially in the legal field, especially if you work in anything, either as a police officer, sheriff, lawyer, paralegal, anything in the criminal justice system. If you work in it, you know everybody. And I know that it's really, right, Gretchen, I know it's really, really hard to sit there and say, I can't be a part of this because I have a connection, because we don't have a whole lot of judges. It's not like San Antonio where they can just pull a judge from another court and make it super easy. It's a little harder. But I just think that I'm not even going to look at all my notes, all the evidence notes. I'm not going to look at them. I'm going to start from ground zero. I'm going to take notes in trial. I hope I still have, I may have to go back and reprint it. The, what I call the casting chart, and with all the players in it. Brandy Churchwell did a phenomenal job. I want to give her a shout out. If you guys want to look at things, she's got timelines, she's got pictures, she's got all kinds of stuff. She has been like you, she's been on this from ground zero, and she is just amazing, and she's still talking about it. So
Yeah.
they can bring an out of town judge. That's what, yep.
Or just next county, like.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Or extra. There was a
they're
case
not
of
asking to have this moved.
the same podcast that I got onto the what's this case. Back in the day, I don't know how old this case was, but it was like throwback to a case. There was like it was also a small town or county, and they brought a retired judge out of retirement. So because he was like the only one they could find available that was that did not have a conflict. So there's like that option too, like bring out someone from the retirement. It's not like they didn't do that before.
Yeah. So I'm just at this point, I'm just, I don't think I'll do it tonight because it's already 8:30 my time, but we will be doing it the next week or so, going through all of those documents. That's going to be important. People want them, I'll do it. But when it's trial time, I'm just going to note, and whatever is testified to is what I'm going to base it on, not what I've heard in the past and what I know. And we're just going to see what comes out in trial. That's the only way we can do.
Ronnie, a question. Info about the podcast, or what kind of info do you want me to share? Because I don't remember the case that they brought the judge out of retirement just for that case.
Where are you at?
It was a message from Ronnie. Share more info with us, Andjela.
I don't know.
On the Karen case, okay? Yeah, but like I said, I'm gonna go. I have an iPad. I started taking notes on Sarah Boone's case, and I had like a handful of pages, but I started taking notes towards the end of the trial. But I'm gonna do on Can Read retrial, taking notes. The problem I had on the first trial that I was like 9 days. Well, I had 2 weekends and 5 weekday that I was out, and I was like on a rewatch crew for Can Read trial because I was working on an event that I hold closely to my heart, and which is also a whole other things concerning everything that is going on. I'm not gonna mention here because we may go into stuff that crossover from the pickles. We are talking about pickles, not politics.
Pineapples.
Yeah, pineapples. Well, yeah.
I don't want to like RA has no pickles, no politics. And then Emily D. Baker has law nerds, and I love the term law nerds, but I don't want to take somebody's catchphrase. But
Okay.
I love pineapples.
Pineapples, yeah. Which I mean, you are not from Europe, so you pretty much have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, or what's going on, so it wouldn't even matter. So I was out.
I have a suitcase sitting in my dining room And every time I see him, it's the same exact size as the one he died in. But
I
it's
have
hard
two.
sided. It's not soft. And I'm like, every time I see it, I think, God, that's small.
I have two, which we keep all the motorcycle stuff in it because now it's cold here, so we don't. Well, my dad and my mom don't drive it, so all the motorcycle jackets and so are in those two. Easier to store them. um, so I because of that I couldn't do that, but I do plan on doing it on the retrial. Um, I also
Come here.
basically did not sleep during that week or slept very little while I was working. So, oh my God, a cutie. What's the name of the cutie pie? Hold on a
This
second.
is my hearing dog. Listen. Alert. Oh, nope. Alert. Good girl. Come here. Touch. Alert.
Hold on.
You can't see her, can you? All right. Sit. Alert. Yes. Ada. Yes. Alert. Good girl. She is my hearing dog. And on certain sounds, she will come up and nudge me like you just saw. Touch. Good girl. She is professionally trained. Sit. Sit. Yep. Down. Alert. Good girl. She is a professional dog. So if someone calls my name, I'm in the grocery store and they go, Ada. Oh, there she goes. She just alerted. So I got to treat her. Or if my cell phone goes off or whatever. She's trained to fire alarms, fire trucks. So she pops me on the leg. So
I don't have animals, mostly because we travel a lot, so that would be hard.
take
And
her everywhere I go.
yeah, but problem is here, if you have an dog like that would be great. I could fly with her if I needed a dog like that. But otherwise, I can't fly. Airlines here does not allow pets. There are just a handful that allow, and you have to pay very much extra to get pets on. So
Yep.
if you want to get anywhere, you gotta drive.
Yeah.
But so I have
with her.
something. Please.
Oh, hey. Here's our mascot. We are getting a girl, so we're going to have to rename him because this has been named Heidi. But somebody, one of my viewers, has sent me a white one to go with. So we have that one's going to be Heidi, the Highlander. So now we need to name this one.
Mm.
So this is my little mascot. When it's not holiday season, you can see him sitting right behind me. And I'm destroying my backdrop. So anyway, but
Heidi like a book. Heidi like a book. My favorite book, which I did have here somewhere. You know the child book, Heidi.
I'm allergic to lemons, and I got someone squeezed a lemon, and the mist hit me on my face. Almost all the sores have healed except for that one. That's right. They cannot charge extra money for my dog, and they don't.
No,
And
and they wouldn't either here, because you're allowed. But if it's not a dog like yours, I can't take it on the airplane.
Well, I had her 4 months. Let's December, January, February, March, 3 months. And I flew, and I haven't flown since before 9/11. And I flew to Washington, D.C. all by myself for a conference. And I decided, and I knew I was going to be flying with her. I knew I was going to get her almost a year in advance because I was going through the process. And so I upped my ticket to first class, going and coming back. And there was plenty of leg room. I had no trouble getting through the airport. Nothing. I had no troubles. And we were in Washington, D.C. near the Smithsonian. And I thought, they have like not one big, but many buildings, a lot of buildings. And I went from the Native American building that had the Native American exhibit. And I said, I've always wanted to see Julia Child's kitchen. I loved her as a kid, but that's 5 buildings up. That's almost like a mile and a half walk. And it was 105 here in Texas when I left. And it was like the high of 82 the day before I left. I get there and it was 101 in Washington, D.C. with 100% humidity.
Oh
So
my God.
I had this taxi driver, 2 of them refused me. They're Middle Eastern. They don't do dogs. Fine. Another one drove up. He pushed the front seat forward, created more room for her. He gave me his card. And so I called him every time I needed a taxi. So he dropped me off at one Smithsonian and then he was going to pick me up and take me to another. But I had to cross the street to catch up with him. And it was 3 lanes this way, 3 lanes this way, and turning lane in the middle. I have a white blinking person. No, I'm not being prejudiced. They're white. And I saw 2 blocks up a city bus, but 2 blocks, right? So I'm like, okay, white person blinking. I'm almost to the center of the turning lane. And my dog just went whoo, like that and spun me because I'm hands free. Her leash wraps around my waist because I sign. And because it was wrapped around my waist and she's on my left side, it pulled me this way. And the bus was right there. I didn't hear it honking. That's not what they train into these dogs, to pull you out of the way. Now she was originally a guide dog for the blind. And that's $80,000 dog. And she hates water. She'd go around the puddles and disorient. So they were going to wash her. And then they realized she was incredible with sound. So they sent her to Texas to be trained for me, additional 30 grand. So she pulled me out of the way of the bus. All these people come running up. I don't know, there's like 5 to 10 of them. And this one woman was looking at me, you could have been killed. I mean, she was yelling at me like I was her kid. And I went, deaf, hearing dog. And all of a sudden, everyone realized what happened. And I mean, they were loving on her, giving her water. And I mean, they were just smothering her. I'm shaking. I am in tears. My taxi driver drives up and he jumps out of the car. He picks her up. Middle Eastern, don't touch dog. Picks her up and puts her in the car. He thought she had gotten hit. I mean, she saved my life. I would have been hit by that bus.
Wow.
I haven't bonded with her yet. So she's an amazing girl. And I do sometimes go places without her because it's safer for her, like somewhere where it's going to be hard. I mean, I'm real protective of her paws. So that's my girl. Sensei would have her own seat, but you're not allowed to put him in a seat. They won't let you do that. So this is my girl. What most of you don't realize, she's right here under my feet or to one side of me or another 90% of the time. And and she's caught on to when I have migraines and she starts alerting before I have the migraine.
That's so amazing.
Come here, baby girl. Come here. Let me get you up here one more time. Up, up. Can you? Let's do this.
So cute.
You gonna say hi? You gonna say hi to everybody?
Hey.
She is a very small lab. She is only 45 pounds, which is really small for a lab.
Oh.
No, because you got me on TV.
I managed to befriend almost all the dogs. There are a few here in my neighborhood. They were like, don't want to talk with me or anybody for that matter. So I'm a really huge dog person. So much so that I managed to befriend a police dog as well.
I wanted her to meet our new police dog, but I thought, yeah, let's not do that yet. While we're talking about, I want to get Service Dogs Inc. of Texas a shout out for this fabulous dog. You just pay a $50 application fee, which covers your background check. Other than that, you don't pay a penny for the dog. It is all done by sponsorship and grant. And it is very expensive to train your own dog. We're talking 20, 30,000. So anyway, she is the thought of me not being, her head is on my lap right now. The thought of me not being with her and having to retire her. She's 5 years old. I'm going on December 5th will be our 2-year anniversary. And just the thought of having to retire her gets me emotional. But
But
when
can
she
you still
retires,
keep her? Can you
huh?
still keep her after she's retired?
She will be placed with my son. And then I
Ah,
will get another service dog. You don't want to keep a retired service dog in the home with a working one, because the retired one will continue to try to work, and the other one may not want to work because the other one's doing it. It's just not a good idea. So um, she will go and retire to my son. He will take her.
oh.
Yeah, and but she's my love.
I mentioned that I befriended police
Please.
dog. Yeah, and it was during the event that I worked on in April/May. Well, that actually happened first week of May. And I was backstage, and the event was high security. We talked yesterday about police and trust in police, and that event that I worked on, we had police from 3 different countries: Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, military, and there was a sniper on a roof, because that was the event was all over town, and one of the places was in the park, and I was working in the park, and there was a sniper on the roof. So that was so high security. And there was even, you were not allowed to bring in the bags, so much. And I was backstage because we had like artists performing and so, and there was a dog, I think bomb and drugs, mostly bomb because of how high security was. And I know how that you're not to go to the dog, but he came to me. I was just standing there beside him and his handler, and he came to me. And then I, of course, asked if I can pet him. And he was so cute and he wanted to play. He may look like a very stern dog, but he was amazing.
I'm giving you kisses from all the people on chat. They want you to get loving.
I wish I'm gonna show you something.
She's like, Mommy, go home. We'll be home in a little bit. But her fur, I mean, this is a good breed. Good breeding. Go. The only thing is her shedding. My carpet in here is so much fur. I mean, I vacuum and vacuum and vacuum and vacuum, and you just like, I give up. I'm gonna live with black fur for the next 20 years.
I'm trying to find there's a neighboring my neighbor. She has a dog, and sometimes we dog sit. I'm trying to find.
That's a way to get your doggy loving is dog sit.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta admit, I'm not a lab breed person, or I never was. I was more of like a border collie, and so I made a comment. They go, "What breed are you?" And I said, "I love border collies. Not too big of a lab fan. But now, give me a lab any day. Right, right. Who's your my baby girl? What? 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 She's sitting here alerting me. Oh, is that a poodle?
I think it's Malteser.
A what?
I need to look it up. Hold on.
It's not a Maltese. Is it a poodle or a Bichon Frouget?
Bichon Frouget. Bichon Frouget.
Bichon Frouget. I've groomed a lot of those dogs.
Yeah. We during this he's not I have a story to share. He is not like an emotional support dog, he's just a regular dog. But during this week when we dog sat, we have a house that we rent, and the people who are renting are horrible. On the list, they should go on the worst renters ever. Like, I don't think there is worse people to rent out to than them. And we are going through court to get them out, and there's a whole story about that. But during that week, we found some not so great stuff, uh, because they took us to court, which we're not gonna go into. And my mom was really sad, and he was like an emotional support dog to her, like licking her and giving her hugs and trying to console her. It was really great. It's
They're
amazing.
fabulous. I have something called intracranial hypertension.
Yeah.
I got viral meningitis at the age of 32, 33. And on my birthday, actually. And the hospital misdiagnosed it with a migraine, even with the spinal tap that didn't look good. And I had my temperature get up to 105.6. And 4 days later, which was a Monday, the hospital called my ex-husband and said, "Where's your wife?" And he goes, "At home, and she's not well." And I was going to bring her back in. He goes, "No, we've already sent an ambulance because she's got viral meningitis and it's severe." And so that was part of my hearing loss journey. But now I produce too much spinal fluid. And when it elevates, I get really bad migraines. She can know, and my son can look at my eyes and how I walk because I start losing my balance because it's pressure in the head. I don't know if you know, when you get built up a fluid, you get this pressure that builds at the back of the head, behind the eyes, and in the ears. Anyway, I've gotten to the point to where I can manage that a whole lot better because she alerts me to it. And it's just a natural progression for her. And I couldn't be happier. Could not be happier. She's phenomenal. So, LOL, sneak aside A to run financial planning business. Oh, cool. So I think we are coming up on, what time is it in your zone?
3:41 a.m.
2:41. When do you normally go to bed?
3:41.
3:41.
And I have
You did three
to
correctly.
be
You
Yeah.
did three and correctly. In sign
3:41.
language, that's W.
Is
Three.
it 3? Yeah,
Three.
3.
Yeah.
3:41.
Most Americans do 3.
So yeah, and I actually have to be at work in like 5 hours.
Good night. Nighty night, nighty
May
night.
I say something? Thank you, but may I say something? And I'm not gonna say to whom is this, but that person may recognize. Regarding just a little bit about Karen Reed case and the crush daddies or ARCA people, as most people are know them, and they using a cannon to recreate the accident. I
Shannon?
Yeah. Well, not the cannon. I don't know I don't remember what exactly they used, but they used the cannon to like shoot and prove whether it's possible or not. And how unconventional that is. Well, I do work at a lab, which is a physics lab, not a usual chemistry lab where you do all the cool stuff. I do other kind of cool stuff. And I do unconventional what some people may say as unconventional labs. Like I do experiments with kids where I talk about universe and the vacuum that is in the universe, and I show how vacuum works with a vacuum chamber and a marshmallow, and they can see how it works, how
It's
things
like taking
expand.
this big styrofoam cup and going down in a submersible, and when you come up, it's about that big.
I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
I have a friend who used to be a submersible. He used to go like at the depths of the Titanic. And he would take a big styrofoam cup, and when they go down, the pressure and everything and everything changed in the cabin. And then when they came back up, the cup was only that big.
Yeah, but
Okay, but you're
in
talking about
the
little-
in the universe, in the marshmallow, because of the vacuum, there's nothing to keep the marshmallow in place, so it expands
okay,
and
it's
it
a
becomes bigger.
you, babe. I misunderstood. My bad.
Yeah.
It's my dad.
Yeah, I am excited when I talk about science. You're right, sneaky side. And tomorrow, well, we actually changed a few things. So we need to get approval from the security people, and
That
it's
gets my attention.
not that kind of bad stuff. My
This
boss
is all I can
orders.
show you of my security.
Well, my boss orders some new lasers, and before we can use those lasers, we need a stamp of approval by people who do those kind of stuff, because we all know how dangerous lasers are. But once that gets approved, I'm going to use a laser to calculate the sugar content in a liquid.
Oh, that
So yeah. When it comes to physics, we do a lot of things that people might think of. Really, like like Crash Daddy is using a cannon, to shoot.
I laughed when you said laser because I almost got in trouble. I have a big window, and we have a bunch of offices here in our section, and I have a office where I do my son's stuff. And I have a really nice chair next to a big window, and I have a cat here. We have a cat. We rescued her in the parking lot when she was 3 weeks old. And I have a laser. Do you know the cat lasers?
Hmm?
I was running the laser and she jumps and pounces. Well, she loves me to run it up on the glass because it mirrors around the room. A cop was cutting down the side street that turns into our strip center, our mall center where we have our offices. He saw this laser bouncing around in the driveway in the parking lot of our building. And he was trying to figure out. I think he thought there was somebody with a lead shooter and a laser on it, because I can hit the stop sign. I can run it up the bank a block away. And sometimes I'll just run in the middle of the night, see how far I can see it, And I hit my cat loves it when I hit the back of the stop sign because it's real shiny and it reflects. And we were having a good old time, and all of a sudden, this cop comes storming in to just pulled in with lights going, and I just watched TV like nothing happened.
Speaking of that, I live in a neighborhood which before when I live kind of the where I live, it's a separate county, but we are so glued to Malmö, which is like south of the south of Sweden, not the south of the Sweden, but almost the south of the Sweden, and so when you say before, it was like when you say you where I live, I say the part of the county where I live. But now I can say, oh, I live in this neighborhood, and people know where I live, because this neighborhood is kind of like a separate, yeah, village. Maybe some people may even consider like a village because how big it is and how secluded of the rest of the lake is. And because of that, police needs an actual reason to come in here, so they can't just go in here and like see that everyone is and everything is in order and everyone follows the law. But we do have like a private security firm that is part of the county that drives by and makes sure that everything is okay. Point of this being is that when you do see a police car here, something happened. And a while back, like January, February of this year, there was like, I was coming home, it was like 8 p.m. or so, and I saw a police car and it had the lights on. And me being a true crime buff, I was like curious. And I saw them just patrolling back and forth. We have like 3 parallel streets, and I saw them patrolling in those streets. And at the end, first I was looking through the window, and at the end I was like, no, I'm going outside and I'm gonna find out what's going on. And they saw me, my mom and my brother, and they were like, I mean, I guess they figured out why we were there, because why else would be out there? I think it was like minus something Celsius degrees. It was cold. So 0 is 32 Fahrenheit, so below 32 Fahrenheit. And they were chasing some drug dealer or something like that, and we did not get we usually, when something is going on, like we get electricity turned off or about to get turned off, we get the notifications. But there was like a stay in place order, and they were gonna let out the police, canine, to find him. So that was interesting, and me and my brother were glued to the windows and watching that. It was fun, actually, because of how our neighborhood is. We don't see that at all. Like, and it happens once in never. Well, once in a while now.
Oh, not here. Not here. I'm excited. Oh, first of all, I want to read this and then I'll tell you what. My thoughts during the trial: what if they did have an argument and he got out of the car and threw the glass at the car? That's possible. And she drove away. Then he slipped and fell and hit his head. Possible. But what did he hit it on? There were boulders nearby, but where his body was?
May I
Just-
add something to that?
Oh, gladly.
We saw all of these pictures of like taillights being found, and there's this picture of taillights being found by that red thing called fire hydrant, and it's bugging me. It's really bugging me, because I have done this experiment, which thank you, CERN, for giving us my work, 3D printed it out, where we have like a slide and we let the balls out down this slide, and there's like some kind of obstruction, and then you watch where the balls spread out. And looking at that crime scene and that yard and where she allegedly killed him, how did first and foremost, how did the what's the name, taillight end up on that side of the fire hydrant? Number one.
The fragments, all of
Yeah.
the broken pieces end up where they were. It's not
Yeah.
consistent with the body and the story they're telling.
But it's like on the opposite side of the. But that's number one. Okay, let's say that is explained somehow. Number two, the most that is bugging me is that those taillights is in one clump. It's not spread out. It's put like on top of each other. That never happens.
No, that would not
They
happen.
may have. They may
Especially
be
on a
like next.
they're gonna do this. They're not gonna
Yeah.
that.
They may even stay next to each other, but they're not gonna stay on top of each other. You know.
Not like that. So
like-
yes, Chris Mullen says either the ground, but he hit the fire hydrant and then got up and staggered around a bit. That's possible, but here's the problem. They never tested the fire hydrant for DNA, blood, hair, nada. Number one. But what really bothers me is the blood pattern on the shirt and the way the hat was. Because this really, if you look at it, you want to talk about physics. Let's talk about that. When you have a shirt on and you get punched in the face, where's the blood going to go?
Downwards.
Yeah. If I get hit by a car and I fall back, where's the blood going to go?
Spread like this.
Back. And if I'm being dragged and bleeding, the shirt wrinkles, right? I'm doing this. You're seeing wrinkles. I'm not doing anything inappropriate. And I'm bleeding. And then when you open that shirt up, you're going to have voids where it was folded over. That shirt had voids on it. And the hat was down like he'd been dragged.
Mm.
For me, that's a huge telltale that I don't believe she hit him, because the blood pattern, if you take everything else away and look at the evidence of the blood pattern, that blood pattern is straight down. Very minimal bleeding was this way. When they, now I saw a lot of the raw images. The black eyes doesn't shock me. I know people get in car wrecks that get black eyes like that. I also know people who get in fights get black eyes like that. But the blood pattern was not.
I got a once black eye just by hitting a side of a cabinet with my disc, so. And it's side of a cabinet, not even get a punch. That's my first and only black eye.
Yeah, but but you agree the blood pattern going straight down is very confusing.
And what's also confusing is blood pattern on his jeans. I mean, also that more than one contributor. EMS is wearing gloves. Everyone is wearing gloves, and
there was one person who was not seen or talked to for over 48 hours, the son. And he's a fighter. He gets drunk, gets belligerent, he gets in fights. He's an instigator.
Hold on a second. The son Colin was not
the homeowner's son.
Oh yeah.
Remember all those videos and stuff about him talking about?
No, that's Colin. That's Colin.
Colin, thank you.
Yeah, but he was interviewed months later.
They didn't talk to him. He was in the home, but he never came out.
Oh,
nobody saw him. The police didn't see him. Nobody saw the dog.
You mixed up. The one that was in the fights, that was Colin, and he was not talked to like a year after feds talked to him.
Oh, right. My bad. I'm thinking Colin, you're right. The other one was the son. But Colin, for some reason, it's been a while. I got to look at my notes again. Oh, bye, Miss Karen. Good to see you. Bye, everybody who's leaving. We're going to end in about 5-10 minutes. But Colin, I'm sorry. Colin was not interviewed for a long time. The son was not interviewed within a month or two. He was not interviewed the next morning. That morning, he wasn't seen. And you have a second contributor. They didn't look at the knuckles and the hands on those two boys.
Yeah, wasn't there there is also going around that Brian Albert was going with a sling like weeks after or something like that.
I don't know. There's just too much stuff left undone. If there is a second contributor, who is it? Number one. Number two,
Third as well.
why would you not interview Colin or the other son, the son? Why would you not? They were there that night. Whether they left, they say they left or not. It's just so much left undone. So
Also, speaking of that, you remember how Jackson talked to Allie and how he asked her if she manipulated the timestamps? I tried doing that on my phone that same day. It works. You can do that.
oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
You can even I even set like a day like I even set like Japan, which is way ahead of me in time zone, and he sent message to my mom, and it sent like I sent to her like tomorrow, you know.
Yep. You can easily, it's quick and easy. I didn't know you could do that until I got a Switch. Do you know the gaming thing, Switch?
Yeah.
And you can time travel by changing your time in the game bios. So you can, you know how you want to build a building, but you got to wait 24 hours for it to build
Mm.
the next day and it's finished being built. You don't want to wait. You time travel forward a day and then you close it down and travel back a day. And about 2 minutes, it's built. That's when I learned about that kind of thing. So I checked when this was all going on, I checked it with my phone and I'm all like, dang, it works.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're going to let you go. You've been a fabulous guest. And then I'm going to sign off, but don't all leave too quickly, y'all. YouTube, all the people in training on YouTube, never tell them when you're going to leave because then they dump on you. Everybody goes by. But I want to thank you for hopping on. You are welcome to join us anytime you want. Just come into as the gavel drops or comment, hey, can I hop in? I've got a viewpoint I want to share. I'll send you the link and you can hop in. It has been a blessing. Thank you for sacrificing your sleep for us. You did bring some light to things that I hadn't thought about. And I'm going to go back and think a lot about that alcohol and
I'm
carbonated
gonna
drink.
send you the study. I'm gonna send the study to Toxic Orchid.
Well, we have our own Discord page.
I will send
You can just
there
instant
as well.
message me and her.
So it's gonna be I'm gonna send it tomorrow after I get some sleep. I also told you about my paper that I did on Crumbly case. As soon as I get it graded, I will send it to you.
That would be
Um,
awesome. I look forward to it.
yeah.
I really
I
would.
also have some good news. I got I submitted 2 papers, and one of the paper I got back today, the first one, not the Crumbly case, and I got a pass. That was you could only get 2 grades. You either didn't pass or get pass, and I passed with 0 remarks.
That's awesome. Well, that's one
Yeah.
thing. I had gotten an email just now. I had just taken a midterm exam and you get to take it twice. My grade in that class, well, I thought it dropped considerably, but then he graded other things. Well, not considerably, just a point. But my current grade is out of 401 possible points, I have 400. That's
Congrats.
basically 100%. I'm shocked. And this is called transnational crime. This is where we're learning about the history of crime all the way back to when it started going international, from country to country to present, gangs and all of that kind of wonderful history of the mobs, Chinese mobs, Chinese gangs, African, all of that.
Speaking of international crimes, I have something that and that's I promise the last thing. The thing I mentioned earlier, how it got into true crime, and that I first watched International Court with my grandpa back in the day. the owners of the dog that I showed you earlier, their son, one of their sons' father-in-law is a lawyer, and he's a lawyer in Serbia, and he is one of the lawyers right now that is doing a class action lawsuit that is going to be brought in international court in the Netherlands. So,
But they don't have it live, so we can't watch it, do they?
I mean, I watched back in the day. So there might be somewhere live stream.
International stuff. Honestly, my international, we've passed 2 hours, so I can say this. My interest in internationals is sex trafficking. That is something that I'm very passionate about, and I will be writing a big paper about that and international and all of that. So,
Yeah.
thank you,
Thank you.
Angela. I'm having a hard problem saying your name today.
Well, pronounce it as Angela. Pronounce it the same way as you were to read that.
I've been saying Angela, right? Angela?
That's good as well.
Yep. Well,
I'm not gonna dare you to write my. I'm not gonna dare you to pronounce my last name.
well, see, what's killing me is you got a lot of the repetitive, and I'm legally dyslexic. So, Djordjevic?
Almost nailed it. Djordjevic.
I can't see. I can't hear how you say it. See, that's thickness. So spell it like it sounds. Let me
what do you?
Djordjevic?
Yeah. Georgievich, yeah. The reason for the repetitives is because DJ is actually one letter in Serbian, but when you translate it to normal alphabet, it's 2 letters. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
All right, you have a fabulous accent. And
Thank you.
Fabulous soul, and we love having you. Please get some sleep, and we'll be
I
on
will.
7:30 in the morning.
What?
Our case, one of the 2 cases we're following, goes live at freaking 7:30 Central Standard Time.
Well, it's like 2. I mean, it's 2:30 p.m. my time, so I don't have to worry about waking up early.
Don't you have to go to work in 5 hours?
Yes, I do.
Good night.
Well, I have to wake up in like 3 hours.
I've done that many times. I've got some homework to do.
Good thing is that I have a coffee machine at my work, which is gonna be my friend tomorrow. Well, today.
Thank you so much, beloved.
Thank you.
Come back anytime.
I will. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome. You're now part of the family.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, where is Miss Haley Mouse? Did she leave? I wanted to know if she's still liking her tea. Are you still liking your tea, Miss Haley Mouse? How do y'all like this blue with her name? How do y'all like this screen? I love this screen. I want to see if I can kind of incorporate some of this with our court stuff. I love it. Well, it looks good with this shirt, I must say. All right, guys, y'all are fabulous. We have a huge storm front coming near me. We've got it. Does let me zoom in. I moved it. We got that big old tail coming through, and there's hail, and I lives right there, and it's going to hit us. So, I'm going to have to get my car under in the parking garage to keep it from getting hailed. We'll go home in my son's car. But, well, but do you like the one that? Aren't you the one that ordered tea from this Ollie Tea? Ollie T sent me this. but they also sent me a bunch of stuff that I can sample. So I've got to break them out. I got to make labels, and I'm going to bag them up, and I'm going to start giving them as giveaways. So they make my eyes look really blue. My eyes are really green, but when I wear blue, they change. Yeah, this is going to be a big one. That's the small part of the that's a small part of it. It's expanding. So no, it was somebody else. Okay, I can't remember who. I'm too tired. It cost me $1 billion in postage to import. So that I learned a little bit about that. Oh, it's this. I looked up here and it looked like he was sitting on something. I cannot believe the taxes in Canada. I was learning about that from Runkle of the Bailey. That's now, if I send it to you, is it that expensive? Brit, that's right. It was Brit. Hello, it's Brit is the one who ordered it. Is if I send it to you, is it still that expensive? I don't think they will send me some either. Our customers are. I mean, I don't know. These are little package. I would send maybe 2 of every flavor or something like that in it. But anyway, yeah, that's well, I will tell you, I'm setting up a PayPal thing to where if somebody out of country wins like a mug or whatever, I don't know what y'all can use, but whatever it is, I will send you the dollar amount of what the mug would have been. I don't think it's fair that y'all can't participate. And no, I'm so proud of myself. I did not eat any of my chocolate covered coffee beans to stay awake. Oh, that sucks. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I still have for Sneaky, I'm saving it because if I'm going to pay money, I'm going to send her some stuff. I've got a stuffed animal for her dog for Halloween. That was a candy corn. It's a unicorn in the color of candy corn. I still have it. I'm just scared to find out how much it's going to cost to ship it. So anyway, it's only worth about $10, but the shipping's going to be astronomical. You guys are amazing. Y'all have been a pleasure yet again. I look forward to seeing y'all in the morning. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, find somebody who's coming down here, get them just across the border, and then send it. Can you come across the border and then ship it? Just saying. I'm awful. I'm awesome. Awful. Mary Kay, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so awesome. Congratulations to Melissa Webb for a 1-month membership. Hello, Brit, 4 months. Oh, I can't believe we've been doing this for 4 months. That is awesome. And then C. Morales, 4 months. That is awesome. So congratulations to all of you. Mary Kay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are so amazing. But Sensei and I are going to say farewell. Heidi, temporarily, Heidi the Highlander says farewell. Y'all have a great evening, and I will be back here. Oh, at 7:30 in the morning with bells on. Oh, I'm just praying I go to sleep tonight. All right. Bye, guys. Be blessed.
Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.